All right.
And I'll let you know when it pops up, Kylie.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'm going to need some help with the agenda because I was not able to get it printed, so I'm trying to put it up now.
That's fine, sir. No problem.
Move things along, please.
Yeah, she'll put it up for you.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I mean, repeatedly. My printer is out, so I can't print. So I try to put it on my mobile, on my cell phone.
You ready?
Okay.
Do you see it, Dr. Nash?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You do, Dr. Nash?
I do.
Are we ready?
Yes.
We're ready.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our virtual June meeting of the Board of Trustees, Alabama A&M University. Those of you that are joining us virtually, welcome, and we hope that we can maintain our link and our up feed so that you can participate by viewing with us. We will have the ecumenical invocation, please, at this point.
Just have one of the board members volunteer and do it, sir.
Okay, all right. Would one of our board members please do that? Archon Hackett, Hackett.
It would be an honor. President Williams, it'll be an honor. This is Hackett. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you once again for your blessings. We thank you, Heavenly Father, for all that you've done for us. Now, Father, we pray and ask you as this board and all of the presidents of the university and all the staff members that we all work together for a better means of Alabama A&M University. Speak to us, speak through us, and speak for us. In your name we pray. Let God, all God's children say amen.
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 Thank you, Trustee Hackett. I appreciate that. Roll call of members. Trustee Johnson Cole, would you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Trustee
listen on our screen there.
Trustee Jerome Williams,
Here.
Trustee Chris Robinson, Trustee Ginger Harper,
Here.
Trustee Kevin Ball,
Present.
Trustee John Hackett Jr.,
Present.
Trustee Cherie D. Pickett,
Present.
Tiffany Johnson Cole is present, Trustee Richard Cronkleton,
He's present.
okay, Trustee Nichelle Gainey,
Present.
Trustee Wayne Watts,
Here.
Trustee Frank Williams,
Present.
Trustee Jeanette Jones.
Present.
Thank you,
There is a
Trustee. We do have a quorum.
The adoption of the agenda is next.
I move that we adopt the agenda as printed.
Second.
Second.
It's the state your
Second,
name.
Ginger Harper, Trustee Harper.
It's been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. The agenda is adopted. We have approval of the minutes and recommendation of the subcommittee meeting of February 20th. Could we get a motion to approve the minutes and recommendation of the subcommittee meeting?
Motion to approve, Trustee Harper.
Trustee Watt,
Second.
second.
Okay.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes and recommendation of the subcommittee meeting of February 20th. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The next agenda item is approval of the minutes from the meeting of February 21st. Could we get a motion to approve the amendment, to approve the minutes?
Trustee Pickett, motion to move to approve the minutes from February.
Trustee
Trustee
Williams, I second it.
Okay.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes from the meeting of February 21st. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we have the report and recommendations of the president of the university.
Dr. Williams and members of the Board of Trustees, the report for the president will actually be the informational item at the end of the agenda dealing with the reopening. That will be given by, led by Dr. Garrett Crosby with input from other members of the staff.
Thank you. The president pro tem will have also something toward the end of the meeting that the president and I have discussed, and we'll wait until the end of the meeting to address that. That's okay, Mr. President.
That is correct. That's fine, sir.
We have a report of committees. The Audit and Investment Committee. Akron Ball. Trustee
Yes,
Ball.
yes, we have no action items and/or informational items at this time.
Thank you. Business and Finance, we have some action items. Trustee Harper.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. We discussed a number of action items yesterday, full discussion through subcommittee with the board. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Clayton Gibson, Senior Vice President for Finance and Administration, to walk us through each of the action items. Members of the committee are Trustee Watts, Trustee Hackett, Trustee Banks, and Trustee Cole. Mr. Gibson?
Thank you, ma'am. The first action item on there pertains to the approval of the tuition and fee schedule for the Bulldog Life program, which was discussed yesterday. In total, we have 6 action items, and I'll move through them one at a time. The first is, as we said, the Bulldog Life program, and that is a program for individuals, a unique group of individuals who have special needs. And it's a program we have on campus, and what we're proposing is to only assess them tuition charges, but none of the traditional fees. And this was discussed in full detail yesterday. So the recommendation is that the board approve the proposed fee schedule for the Bulldog tuition and fee schedule for the Bulldog Life program.
Okay, do we hear a motion?
This is
Trustee
trustee. Go ahead.
Move to approve.
Thank
Trustee
you,
Hackett,
Trustee
second.
Watts. Thank you, Trustee Hackett. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Excellent, motion carries.
All right, the second item is the approval of our tuition and fees schedule for the university as a whole. And this is the item that we had some discussion on yesterday, and this will be talked about later on, I'm sure, but we had different models that we talked about as part of our reopening considerations. But the board was presented a proposed budget yesterday, which includes pretty much no tuition fees or board changes, and we're pretty pleased to present this to the board. So the recommendation is that the board approve the tuition fees and board for academic year 2021. And just as a reminder, right after this, we'll approve the operating budget.
Okay, do we hear a motion to approve?
This trustee Hackett, I make a motion that we approve the approval of the tuition and fees.
Second?
Trustee Pickett.
Thank you, Trustee Pickett. So it's been moved and properly second. Do we, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, the third item is our fiscal year 2021 proposed operating budget. And the administration recommends that the board approve the fiscal year 2021 operating budget in the amount of $192,040,000.
Okay, do we hear a motion to approve?
This is trustee Hackett. I'd like to offer a motion that we approve the proposed operating budget as presented by the senior vice president.
Trustee Watts, second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Trustee Williams, would you like to carry these action items?
Not
Yes.
necessary. Carry on. You're doing well.
Okay,
Trustee Hopper and Trustee Dr. Williams, just for the sake of being sure that we don't have an issue with the legality of it, the chair of the committee can move it, and then Dr. Williams, you will need to carry through the motion, so we'll be sure that
Okay.
accordingly.
Thanks for the clarification, Mr. President. We'll do that.
okay, so I take it there were none opposed for the proposed operating budget? Okay.
And for the fourth item is just for my clarity, did we vote on the years for the budget?
Yeah.
I don't think it was carried through.
Okay.
If you would, for
I'll
clarity, Chair Hopper, if you would move that approval of the budget and then let Dr. Williams carry it through. You
I can
approve it, you move it and somebody can second it.
I can restate the motion too, just for the minutes.
Okay.
So the recommendation is that the board approve the fiscal year 2021 operating budget in the amount of $192,040,000.
All right. This is Trustee Hackett. I'd like to make the motion that we approve the fiscal year 2021 proposed operating budget of $192,040,000.
Okay, it's been
Trustee-
moved.
I'll carry it, Hopper, if I can get a second.
Trustee Tiffany Johnson Cole, second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the proposed budget of $192 million plus $1,000. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item pertains to various capital projects that we'll execute, and we're funding this using the proceeds we're going to receive from the state bond fund, which is about $7 million and change, and the advancement in technology, which comes under the educational trust fund. Between those two, it comes to close to $10.5 million. And this list was discussed, this critical projects list was shown to the full board and discussed yesterday. So the recommendation is that the board approve the proposed capital projects list, which will be funded primarily using the funds received from the state bond fund and the advancement and technology fund.
Could we get a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Yeah, anyone can motion. We just need to so moved.
So moved.
Trustee Tiffany Johnson Cole, second.
It's been moved and properly second. In discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you,
Aye.
motion carries.
The fifth action item pertains to removal of the old shop building, which is near the old stadium. And this was discussed again as yesterday in session. We were showing the pictures, and our facilities director walked us through some of the issues that we've been incurring and we have there with the building. And the recommendation is that the board approve the removal of the old shop building as described in the subcommittee meeting and included in the meeting packet.
Trustee Tiffany Johnson Cole, I move that we approve the removal of the old shop building near the old stadium as indicated.
Second. Trustee Hackett, second.
It's been moved and second that we remove the old shop building. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our final action item from the committee pertains to the event center, the proposed event center, which is going to be located at North Memorial Parkway and Stallsworth Drive. And this easement is between us, university, and the city of Huntsville, and it allows for the city to put in the water, sewer lines, and various infrastructure at no cost to the university. It's a public works project, but this easement is required for legalities and business. And the recommendation is that the board approve the proposed easement located at North Memorial Parkway and Stallsworth Drive between the university and the city of Huntsville.
I move that we enter into the easement between the city of Huntsville and Alabama A&M for the event center located between North Memorial Parkway and Stallworth Drive. Trustee Tiffany Johnson Cole.
Trustee Harper, second.
It's been moved and properly second that we enter into the easement with the city of Huntsville. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That's it from us.
Okay, Mr. President Pro Tem, that concludes our report as we have no informational items.
Thank you, Trustee Harper. Academic affairs, please. Trustee Watts.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. We have actually 5 action items, and if we could, I would like to lump those together as our committee report. Action item 1 was to request to delete the wildlife track from the forestry program. Number 2 was request to delete of the ecology track from the forestry program. Request number 3 is to request to delete the GIS remote sensing track from the forestry program. Number 4 is to request to delete the forestry business track from the forestry program. And the 5th item is to request to delete the Taylor-Young track from the forestry program. So Mr. Pro Tem, if you'll carry that out, that's the report from the Academic Affairs and Research.
Are you making a motion to that effect?
I am making a motion to that effect.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second that we delete the aforementioned 5 items. What is your pleasure? Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Thank you, the motion carries. Trustee Watts?
Okay, there are no information items, but there is a report of the faculty and Senate from the faculty and Senate president. Dr. Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
President
Good morning.
Jerome Williams, members of the Board of Trustees, President Hugani, Provost Williams, and other members of the President's Cabinet. I'm pleased to present this report on behalf of the faculty, the great faculty of Alabama A&M University. I discussed this in detail yesterday, so I would just like to reiterate some very quickly for emphasis. We continue to meet with the President and Provost Williams on the concerns of the faculty. The executive committee has met with the President via Zoom and regarding matters such as the budget, the Zoom celebration for our spring graduates, and the spring transition to the online instruction. Of course, again, we expressed our deep and sincere satisfaction with Dr. Rhonda Jackson and Ms. Connie Mack in their efforts to shepherd us through that whole process. It was certainly an awesome job that they did, and we'd like to just express our appreciation to those women. We've met with the President regarding issues in terms of the fall reopening. We expressed some concerns of the faculty. And as a result of that, the President called a meeting with his cabinet to share with us the plans for the fall opening. And we are very pleased with the way in which President Hugani assembled his cabinet to share that information with us and to present those plans. Yesterday, we heard plans from his cabinet in terms of how they will, they plan to put things in place to open the university. We want to, of course, have foremost in our vision, keep in mind that Alabama A&M is a historic Black university. And we want to keep our unique mission foremost in our minds, and the individuals we serve in the forefront of all of our concerns. Our faculty and staff are predominantly African Americans, many of whom suffer disproportionately from conditions such as hypertension, obesity, asthma, diabetes, sickle cell anemia, and more than anything else, stress. Stress of being Black. And we are over the age of, a lot of them are over the age of being 55. So we are in what you call a high risk category for COVID-19. So we want to be assured that any plans that are developed take into account all of those risk areas. So we want to make sure we have the proper protection, the sanitizing stations, face masks, thermometers, and barriers that are placed throughout the university. And yesterday, we were pleased to hear that. We were pleased to hear that there are plans in place, very detailed plans. And so we look forward to seeing those plans implemented. Classroom spacing, we want to make sure that there's adequate spacing between individuals, at least at a minimum of 6 feet. Sick leave flexibility is another item. We want to ensure that individuals who may be sick do not feel compelled to come to work sick and spread whatever illness that they have. So we want that sick leave flexibility. And finally, we want the options for delivery of instruction, either synchronous, asynchronous, or hybrid. So we want to have those options, especially if we feel that we are in those high risk categories. And yesterday we heard that there are plans and there are efforts to make and ensure that we do have those options. And finally, I'd just like to say that we have continued to meet with the president and his cabinet regarding different issues. We have conversations with the president. We have the faculty mentoring program, which is conducted to ensure that our faculty are progressing as they should. And we have a new program, the Alabama Advanced Partnership Program, where we're looking at gender equity in STEM. So we're doing all of this via Zoom. And so we really want to applaud the people in IT who are putting the platforms together so that we can do these things. So we've had Zoom sessions on intersectionality and unconscious bias. So these workshops are all planned, are open to faculty and university administrators, and they are designed to improve institutional policies, procedures, and practices for recruitment and promotion, and to increase the visibility, presence, and inclusion of women and other ethnic minorities in all academic ranks. So this is a report, Mr. President, from the faculty of Alabama A&M University. Thank you.
Okay, that will complete the report of the Academic Affairs and Research Committee. Trustee Jerome Williams, it's back to you.
Thank you, Trustee Watts. We'll now hear from Development and Technology, co-chaired by Trustees Watts and Williams.
Yes, sir. The Development and Technology Committee met on yesterday, and we have a few action items. The first action item being the building name recommendations. A is Henry and O'Neill, Henry and Nell Lance Bradford Auditorium, George O. McCallum Sr. and Ronald and Patricia McCallum McIntyre Senior Hall. Felicia Wilson Dining Hall, that's in the Knight Center, and the renaming of Bibb Graves Hall to Walter S. Buchanan Hall. Those recommendations passed in the subcommittee meeting. I'll remove that as a motion, Mr. President.
Trustee Tiffany Johnson Cole, second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the report of the Marketing, Communication, and Advancement committee with the building name and recommendations. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is Trustee Williams. This is Trustee Gainey. You know, I just wanted to state for the record, as we stated yesterday, my concern is that going forward, we need to establish a policy on how we are selecting the recommendations for building, as well as any accommodations that we're making to individuals. I still feel strongly, you know, as an alum and also as a trustee, that you know, Felicia Williams that we have listed there, I just wanted to hear a little more about what she brought to the institution, because anytime anyone that's working for someone like an Aramark and we're paying Aramark, we need to establish our criteria of what's satisfactory for getting honor. So I just wanted to make sure that my concerns were noted.
Thank you, Trustee Gainey. Any further comments or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to be clear. We do have criteria and a policy set forth, and these were looked at and vetted by a naming committee. Am I correct?
That is correct.
That's correct. And Trustee Jones chaired that committee.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, Trustees Tiffany, I don't think there was a standard that was set during that meeting, from what I gathered from our discussions on yesterday. And I'm just saying, going forward, we should just have something established of how that person is nominated and how they make that list before coming to the trustees.
Trustee Gainey, I believe there is a policy that the committee was obligated to follow. And I may stand corrected, but I believe that policy was followed, you know, according to the guidelines that we established a number of years ago, if my memory serves me correctly. But going forward, as you suggested, we'll make certain that this is looked at and considered much more carefully.
And Mr. Chairman and Trustee Gainey, I just want to say, in looking at our handouts, I do see on all of those that there is a criteria for naming. So, you know, maybe they need to be re-looked at, but there is a criteria that has several different things that you have to meet for that to take place.
Yeah, well, again, my concern, and we don't have to debate about it. I think we talked yesterday. My concern is we have alumni as well as contributors that work with major corporations that contribute a lot to this institution. And I just want to know, when that happens, what is the criteria for selecting an individual to get such an honor? Maybe we should vet a little differently, that's all.
Thank you, Trustee Gainey. And we'll take that under advisement and make certain that those issues are addressed much more in depth in the future. Yeah, are there any further comments or questions or discussions on this issue? If not, can we have a vote? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay, Trustee Gainey.
The motion carries.
Now, Trustee Jerome Williams, we don't have any informational items. So I think that will complete our report from Development and Technology. Is there anything that you want to add, co-trustee? I mean, co-trustee. Frank Williams, is there anything that you need to add?
No, sir, you've done a great job.
Okay, we'll turn it back over to you, Trustee Williams.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Trustee Johnson Cole, Governance Committee, please.
Yes, sir. The Governance Committee has 2 action items. Trustee, the first deals with the bylaws. The second deals with board evaluation. So with regards to the first, I move that we amend Article 4 of our bylaws to add the position of Vice President Pro Tem and to make all necessary edits as previously provided.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we amend the bylaws and with the appropriate edits as required or necessary. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second one deals with the board evaluation, and to that end, I move that we have that we hire a consultant to assist the board with compliance of SACS SCOC standard 4.2G to craft the policy and conduct self-evaluation of the board.
Second, trustee Harper.
It's been moved and properly second that we hire a consultant to assist us in the Board of Trustees self-evaluation. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead, trustee Johnson Cole.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes the report from the Governance Committee.
Thank you very much. Old business, is that any old business of the board? In the new business, Mr. President, should we do this, the issue that I want to present after we do the task force?
I think that might be appropriate. Let's do the reopening task force presentation, and then we'll deal with the other. I'm going to ask, as I did on yesterday, that Dr. Crosby would lead the effort in presenting this, and basically he's going to do a summary of what was presented on yesterday. We went through all of the details, and so we want to go through a summary, and then upon completion of this, we'll be in a position to share this with the our larger community as to what the plans are as of the 26th of June, 10:37 a.m. Dr. Crosby?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ugani. Good morning, trustees.
Good morning.
Morning.
In April, the university's re-engagement task force received a very clear and direct charge from President Ugani to develop and propose strategies for re-engaging our most valuable assets, those individuals committed to the mission of Alabama A&M University, our students, faculty, and staff. Task force members representing cross disciplines from academic affairs to the medical profession and student services shared a very thoughtful, ambitious, cautious, and shared vision for re-engaging campus members with the Board of Trustees during subcommittee meetings held yesterday, June 25th. The task force recommends residential instruction for fall 2020 to the extent possible. The recommendation, much like COVID-19, is fluid, allowing for changes and flexibility as the pandemic unfolds. To this point, our vision for returning to campus is augmented by prudent wellness measures, testing, contact tracing, and physical distancing. As circumstances for the next academic year remain uncertain, the task force did not plan for if scenarios, we plan for when scenarios, when there is a positive case or positive cases on the campus of Alabama A&M University. Planning was guided by two overarching principles. The first being to deliver quality services, as well as, and most importantly, to protect people. Regarding the latter, the university will implement the following safeguards, the following health and safety, I should say, safeguards. In the upcoming weeks, students, faculty, and staff will receive instructions on how to complete mandatory actions prior, and I underscore prior, to returning to campus. Such actions will include testing campus members for COVID-19 and the completion of virtual training modules on strategies to reduce the spread of viruses, including COVID-19. A negative test must be on file for all students, faculty, and staff to gain access to campus including moving into residential halls and attending classes. The university is also preparing to train up to 20 staff and or faculty members to assist where needed with contact tracing. In addition to surveillance of symptoms, the university will use an app technology that's currently being rolled out by our Student Health and Counseling Center to determine one's exposure to the virus, in addition to regularly submitted questionnaires. The Student Health and Wellness Center will provide instructions within the next couple of weeks on how students and community members as a whole should facilitate the process. The university will also install thermal scanners to check for fever at designated entrances of academic and student services facilities. As we've heard time and time again, fever is the first sign of a positive COVID infection, and we want to make sure that we do all that we can to catch that as quickly as we can. Our Airmark facilities will enhance the cleaning of high touch points as well as come and use areas across the campus. We're going to strategically install sneeze guards, hand sanitizing stations, and signage of safety reminders across the campus to remind people to utilize or practice social distancing where possible. Airmark dining will reduce capacity in our dining facilities and will use only disposable items. To accommodate students and their needs for dining, Airmark dining will provide continuous service from 7 a.m. until approximately 8:30 p.m. or as late as needed to ensure that we have well-fed students. We're also going to have regular to-go options for students, which is a change, and students are very excited to hear about that, as well as increased options at the juice bar and the wellness center, and regular use of the Greasy Spoon on Wheels, which is the university's food truck. Students, faculty, staff, visitors, and vendors will be required to wear a mouth and nose covering while in public spaces, including outside if physical distancing is not an option. The university will purchase one mouth and nose face covering for each campus member, including students. Self-acquired masks must comply with color guidelines: maroon, white, gray, or black. We will not allow Halloween masks nor bandanas of other colors on the campus. This will aid actually public safety and in enforcing rules and regulations and identifying community members if needed. There are several additional safety precautions being implemented by Residential Life and Housing. Students and community members are asked to get the most up-to-date information regarding move-in day and visitors by visiting the housing's website. And as a side note, and this is particularly for our gregarious students, those students that are outgoing and social, the Office of Student Activities is finalizing a plan to engage students socially in a safe manner. We want to make sure that students are safe. And so we're going to host a series of in-person activities, but more so virtual opportunities for students to engage as well. And we kindly ask that they pay close attention to the Student Activities webpage for more information. While the university safety plan aligns with local, federal, and state guidelines, a re-entry plan, re-entry plans recently released by leading medical schools, these safety measures are only effective if we keep them at the forefront of day-to-day operations, both individually and collectively. Regarding our desire to deliver quality services, unless there is a drastic change of current conditions, classes will begin Monday, August 17th. We recognize that some students, faculty, and our staff members may not feel comfortable with fully returning to campus. For this reason, and in preparation for the second wave of COVID-19, the university will offer a hybrid instructional model that includes both in-class and online course offerings with the ability to offer exclusive remote instruction if necessary. All courses will transition to online delivery following Thanksgiving. This means when students go home for Thanksgiving break, they should plan to remain home and complete the semester from there. We're very sensitive to the needs of our students as well as our faculty and staff members. And so we understand that this pivot may cause some undue stress, particularly for our students, due to the digital divide. To address digital deficits experienced by many of our students, the university is implementing a common device initiative to provide students with laptops and internet access. This initiative will be complemented by ebooks and will provide students with 24/7 access to a world of learning and development. As Dr. Ugeni mentioned, a more detailed copy of the university's re-engagement plan will be available on the university's website for our internal and external community members to view. In closing, I would like to acknowledge members of the university's re-engagement task force and publicly thank them for their due diligence in bringing strategies, thoughts, and concerns to the table. These members include Dr. Michael Johnson, our medical director in the Student Health and Counseling Center, Dr. Daniel Williams, our provost, Mr. Clayton Gibson, Senior Vice President for Finance and Administration, Attorney Ann Debro, General Counsel, Mrs. Carquesta Slay, Interim Director of Health and Counseling, Mr. Dwayne Green, Director of Admissions, Mr. Brian Hicks, Director of Athletics, Dr. John Jones, Dean of Graduate Studies, Dr. Andrea Cunningham, Director of Title III, Dr. Rhonda Moore Jackson, Director of Distant Education and Extended Studies, Ms. Brenda Williams, Registrar, and Mr. Darrell Jackson, Director of Financial Aid. I would also be remiss if I did not thank over 1,700 students for completing the re-engagement survey administered late April, 1st of May. Their responses guided our work and final recommendations. Lastly, I want to recognize our local community partners and colleagues from across the country for providing insightful recommendations and referrals. Thank you all so very much for your commitment to the mission of Alabama A&M University, specifically providing access and opportunities to resolute learners. That concludes my presentation, Mr. President Pro Tem, and we're open to any questions from the board if there are any.
No question, just a statement. This is Trustee Gainey. Again, as I stated to Dr. Ugeni, we are all in this together, and we do know we are upon unprecedented times. And we know that this is going to be something that's ongoing and things will change. And all we ask is just keep us informed on how we can best serve you and the institution and the committee. Because one thing I think we're all rest in comfort that we all know that you put our students first. And so we take the recommendation and support it. And as again, if you need us for anything, we're here.
Thank you, Trustee Gainey.
I certainly want to thank the committee for the wonderful job that they did. As I indicated on yesterday, one of the things that this effort has brought about is a greater collaboration among all institutions throughout the conference, throughout the state, and throughout this nation. So we are constantly in communication with our colleagues to see exactly what it is that we should try to do. No person currently living experienced what the country went through in 1918, 20. They may have been born at that time, but they were not in a position to make decisions. So we are certainly in uncharted waters and unprecedented times, and we are trying to make these decisions based on the very best and available information we have, but to do so, as you did indicate, Trustee Gainey, keeping in mind our students, but also, as Dr. Jones has mentioned, being sensitive to our faculty and staff, sensitive to the fact that we are, as a people, in the high-risk category, and we aren't going to do anything that's going to endanger the health and safety of all persons involved. We will continue to monitor. We frankly do not know at this point where all of this is going to end up, But be assured that the same due diligence that has brought us thus far, we will continue to have that same due diligence going forward. I do want to say again, all the plans are good, but at the end of the day, there are some things that as individuals, we have to do, and we ask that you share that with all persons involved. We, number one, must take personal responsibility for our health. We must ensure that we do those things such as sanitizing and wearing a mask and keeping social distance. We have to do that as individuals. And then we have to do those things that's going to help our neighbors so that they are going to remain healthy. If we all do that, we'll be able to go through this and be successful as a nation and as an institution. You have our commitment to do the very best that we can with the information that we have available. So thank you, and we'll just continue to monitor the situation and see what happens as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I want to remind all of us that wearing the mask are essential. And there's a misconception that the mask is protecting us from contaminating the virus from others. The mask is to protect others from contaminant getting infected by us, and also to keep our hand out of our face. So, I think it's important that we be reminded why the masks are there. It is to protect other folks from possible contamination from us. We might be a silent carrier and don't know it. And if we're up in other folks' face without a mask, breathing on them, then we can potentially infect them. Mr. President, an outstanding report by your task force. I'm encouraged by it. And I think that, with the implementation of it, we'll be well protected as a faculty, student body, and staff and administrators.
Thank you, sir. You can now pivot, sir, into the comments that you wanted to make, Dr. Williams.
Thank you. In this environment that we are in beyond COVID-19, with the death of Mr. Floyd in Minnesota, there's been a sea change of events and atmosphere and attitudes as related to minorities and other people of color. This is an opportune time, I think, for us to make some moves at Alabama A&M University. And we have titled an initiative called Alabama A&M University Reimagined. And if you would let your imagination just soar and go wild and think of any and everything that you can that could make Alabama A&M the university that you imagine it to be. Just imagine Alabama A&M sending students at graduation without student debt. That Trustee Jones has a new science building that is fully equipped with all the latest equipment that can provide learning tools for basic science, advanced science, and even for the postdoctorate students. That Dr. Walker has in the ag school, all of those things that we find at the most advanced agricultural universities around the country. That the engineering school has all of the equipment to be able to be major contractors on all of the rocket science things and other things that schools of engineering around the country is doing. That's the imagination I want us to have, that we can think, and Dr. Clark has all the tools he needs to move IT around the university and around the state and around other HBCUs around the country to where he imagined it. That's the imagination I want us to have as we reimagine Alabama A&M University. We're going to do this reimagining without financial restraints, because we are way, way long overdue to having the resources that have been denied us for generations, for hundreds of years. So we're going to do this reimagining campaign, and then we're going to put it on paper. We're going to put numbers to it, and we're going to put it out there and say, this is part of the indebtedness that is owed Alabama A&M University. This is the down payment of what we expect from this nation, for this university, for the denials that we've had for hundreds of years. If you can imagine with me, as far as your imagination will soar, and I don't want any small thinking. I don't want any minute thinking. I want big, magnificent thinking, as far as you can go. And then Dr. Tucker has been identified by the president as a person, and Frank Williams from the board would be working with the board to put this thing together, the package, and we will present it to the nation and say, this is what we expect as a down payment of what we've been denied over the years. Can you imagine with me? Can you reimagine A&M being the university that it was meant to be from its inception, from our founding Dr. Council? Can you imagine with me what we can do if we can provide those resources that the people at this university, the administrators, the instructors, all those individuals that just want a chance to do what we know they can do? Please reimagine with me, put it on paper, share it without limitations. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. We do appreciate that. And I think it's critically important that we not have any small dreams and small visions, that we, as the Dr. Williams has said, imagine and just let resources not be a limiting factor. This is the time, and we all know that you strike while the iron is hot. And so this is the time for us as a university to lay out this roadmap for the future as to what Alabama A&M University should be, not limited by resources, not limited by other constraints. And so as you have those ideas, and this is something that everyone can participate in, for the board, if you share those ideas with Trustee Williams, and Dr. Tucker will be soliciting those from others, and we're going to create some white papers and try to get those in the appropriate places so that these resources can come to this university. So thank you for that vision, Dr. Williams, and we are committed, and we will roll up our sleeves and get the job done. Again, this is not something that we have a year to do. We need to get it done yesterday. So we need to have a time frame for coming up with this, and of course, hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, we should have something that we can present.
Yeah, Dr. Hugani and Frank, Trustee Williams, and and Trustee Williams, I just want to add one more thing. My experience with the A&M has taught me one thing. Some of the faculty is some of the best and the brightest in the world. The first generational students that are coming through are some of the best in the country. So we just need to add that value there, because the assets with people are some of the best in the country. So we've got a huge opportunity. I echo your guys' comments.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Williams, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Just a moment. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Attorney Stakely, do we not have to establish the date of the next meeting?
It may be statutorily, but we still can do that as well.
Because I think it's statutorily, it's the 3rd, but we'll be meeting on the 29th and 30th. No, I'm sorry, 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Dr. Hugini is correct that in order to alter the date set in the statute, the board should at this point adopt the next date for the committee meetings as well as the meeting of the board itself.
Thank you. Repeat that, please, Attorney Stakely.
Yes, sir. The president has just mentioned proposed dates for the next committee meetings, as well as the date for the next Board of Trustees meetings. I think it would be appropriate by motion that the board set that meeting, those meetings as proposed by Dr. Hugini on those dates.
It's the 28th and the 29th of October for committee meetings, and the board meeting is that Friday morning, 30th. So we have the 28th and 29th subcommittee, and the 30th is the Board of Trustees meeting. The tentative location would be Birmingham, Alabama. Of course, that is subject to change.
Trustee Harper, move to approve the dates as presented.
Trustee Johnson Cole, second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 One other item that I failed to do early on, we have a new trustee, Trustee Crumplington. My apologies in not recognizing, acknowledging you earlier. Welcome to the board. We're excited to have you on board, and thank you so much for agreeing to serve with us. If you care to have a comment, you may at this time. If you don't, then that's okay as well.
Unmute.
Trustee
I don't know how I get muted, but I'm back on live. Yes, I would like to comment. This has been a very, very exciting experience this last 2 days. I'm very impressed with the amount of detail, research, hard work that's gone into coming up with the plans and the changes and the resolutions that the board and the staff have provided. Obviously, an incredibly talented group of people that are on this screen right now before me. And I'm looking forward to working with each of you, getting to know each of you better, and making whatever contributions I'm able to make to the betterment of the university. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Crumplington. Any further comments? Go, Mr. President.
If I may add, Trustee Crumplington also serves on the advisory board for the AAMU Rise Foundation. Given his confirmation to serve on this board, he will roll off of that advisory council, but he'll continue to serve in an advisory capacity to the council. We really appreciate his efforts over the last few months in helping us to evolve and progress in that arena.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any further comments?
Trustee Williams, I have no comment. I just have a question. And it's directed to Archie, Tucker, and also Clayton, Crosby. Is there any way?
You're muted.
Okay. No.
Okay, you hear me?
No, we
can.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just asking, was there any purchase or fundraisers around the, since everyone has to wear masks, is there any way I could purchase one with A&M logo?
Yes, this is Tucker. Yeah, we're working on that. So we should roll that out, and we'll be sure you're the first to know. And the board as a whole.
Any further comments?
Dr. Williams.
Yes, go ahead, Trustee Watts.
As it relates to what was the date again for school starting? Do you
17th of August. August 17th.
And faculty, did we say anything about faculty and staff when they return? Did we mention that? I'm not sure.
We did not mention, that's the first day of classes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Faculty and staff will return the week before, but if you remember, Dr. Crosby gave you a staggered time.
That's right. That's
and
right, I
the
forgot.
students will begin to move into the dormitories.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. That's it.
If there are no further comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Tiffany Johnson Cole.
Second, trustee Harper.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Trustee Robinson is feeling ill today, very ill, so he was not able to join us. I was hoping he could by telephone, but keep him in your prayers, please. And Trustee Pickett, you still there? Okay.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay. All right. We hope that your spouse continue to improve.
Thank you.
The meeting adjourned.
Everyone be safe.
Be safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, keep,
Hold on, because we're still live,
oh, okay.
but hold on. Just put your phone, just put it on mute real quick, because I don't want to close out until we know, okay?